I want to talk about a day that made me feel hopeful and sad at the same time. I was riding with my children to look for a new place. As we drove through a low income neighborhood, I saw a police car parked alongside the road. I thought there was nothing strange. The car stayed where it was after we left the neighborhood. A wealthy area was just up the road. We went through and came out the other side where we saw the same police car now coming from the opposite direction. I kept driving. We turned to another upper class neighborhood, and that is when the blue lights came on behind me. The police officer said she pulled me over because I was driving in inclement weather without headlights on. It was daytime. There were some clouds in the sky. It did rain a little earlier, but it was not enough for me to use my windshield wipers. When she came up to my window, she was not carrying an umbrella or wearing a raincoat, but she said it was too bad for me to be driving without headlights on. She looked at my license, told me to turn on my lights, and sent me on my way. But I was sure of what was going on. I went to the police station to make a report. I was not yelling or making a scene when the police officer in the hallway threatened to arrest me. After that, I talked to the lieutenant. He cited Florida Law 316.217, which says that when it rains, headlights must be on. I told him it was barely raining and told him what I really thought. Your police officer saw three black women in a beat up car with bonnets on, and she pulled us over. He told me the officer was Hispanic, as if that made it impossible for discrimination to happen. But sadly, some of my worst encounters have been with Hispanic women. The truth is that racism does not have to be between black people and white people. There can be bias between any two groups. In fact, a study was done where 55% of Latinos born in the U.S. thought black people were lazier than Latinos, while only 9% thought black people were more hardworking. The rest gave both groups the same score. Prejudice is complex, and it crosses racial and ethnic lines. I told him I lived in this area over half my life, and that he could not tell me what it was like to be a black woman in the South, just like I couldn't tell him what it was like to be a white man. He called me back the next day. He said he looked at the video and did his own investigation. He apologized and said the views of his officer was not his views, and that he wanted to make a difference. I accepted his apology. Part of me felt vindicated, but another part of me was just sad, because I knew my story was not the only one like that. This is important because it's not about headlights. This is about life in a place where black people are often seen as suspicious before they are seen as people. Black people are stopped more often than other groups. In 2022, 62% of black people whose most recent interaction with police was police initiated and they were the driver in a traffic stop, compared to 56 to 59% of all other groups. People of color were checked or jailed more than twice as often as people of other races. In this case, it is about how simple things like house hunting can make you feel nervous, paranoid, and worn out. When discrimination happens, it is just not hurt the person that's pulled over. It erodes trust in the entire system, and without trust, safety is just an illusion. What can be done? Well, the first thing we need to do is stand together. We can ask for better training on bias, teaching that changes the way police agents deal with people. We can agree with ideas like letting separate groups investigate police wrongdoing. We can take part in local meetings, vote when we can, and be a part of community conversations. It is also about really hearing what other people have to say, even if it's hard to hear. Also, keep in mind that anyone can be biased. That means we should all work on it and pay attention to it. That will make discrimination less strong. Being fair seems more real. Equal treatment under the law can also become something we live by and not just talk about.